Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, the Shark, Jordan, and our special guest today is Python. Today is our 99th episode, and we're discussing the 2014 Pixar TV special, Toy Story That Time Forgot, for our Christmas special this year. So, let's get things started.
You got a friend in me. Dun, 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 dun. You got a friend in me. That honestly sounds so wrong out of context.
It definitely does. But yeah, Toy Story, of course, was Pixar's first successful movie, so it would only be natural that it would get various spin-offs in that. Now, the interesting thing with this is that Pixar wouldn't really do Toy Story continuations, aside from like these little 30-second TV shorts, and whereas other movies like, say, Monsters, Inc. and The Incredibles and pretty much Finding Nemo and almost every other Disney movie got their own sort of little generated shorts, Toy Story was the one that never got it, and it's interesting to see why. It never happened until Toy Story 3 came out, and what happened is originally some of these shorts came out in theaters and they were a lot, well, shorter, but later on they would make two TV specials for it, which would be Toy Story of Terror, which was their Halloween special, and the one we're talking about today, which is Toy Story That Time Forgot. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, I think the main reason they hesitated with making a Toy Story shorts is because it was like their sacred cow, kind of like how Mickey is for Disney, that they didn't want to risk doing something that might alienate the audience to the franchise.
Well, they certainly lost on that front. But anyway, with this one, this would actually be the last one they would do before Toy Story 4, and it's a Christmas special that actually focuses more on the female dinosaur Trixie, which is why we're talking about this one for our Christmas special.
Yep.
Yep. So it begins with a really nice touch, as right away we have a great Easter egg. On the table, there's the little snowman from the Knick Knack short, and that right there is like something that, okay, you got me. That's a good little reference.
Yep.
Yep. Fortunately, unfortunately, they do not have the big-breasted Miami girl in there. Look at the original version for that, haha.
Uh-huh.
But basically, the short itself begins with Bonnie playing with her toys, using Woody as Santa Claus, which also makes the second time Tom Hanks voiced a CGI Santa Claus, by the way.
I understood that reference.
Yep. And they're playing with the others. Trixie, who is a female blues Triceratops toy, is being used as various roles, including a baby reindeer, a goblin fairy. So apparently Bonnie had just seen Labyrinth before this particular play session. And a woman at a restaurant, which this last one is a really good bit with a bug is in my son's ice cream and he has a bug allergy. Followed by Bonnie just nonchalantly throwing it out like a diner waitress. And that was actually a really good, cute little reference there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we cut to Bonnie playing with a cardboard box, and then a dinosaur broke out of the dinosaur jail. As she runs off, the toys all come alive again, as Trixie excitedly tells Rex that she will finally get to play as an actual dinosaur. And Trixie, of course, her design is pretty much like it's a kind of a softened Triceratops. It has like the cartoonish eyes, these small cartoonish eyes that look really good. Her voice actress is Kirsten Shaw, who is probably best known for being Mabel in Gravity Falls, so that alone is a good casting right there.
Grappling hook!
Yep. If only Grunkle Stan was here.
Kids fighting! I can sell this!
Yeah, well, and this is... go ahead, Math.
I would actually argue that she's probably best known as Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
That too.
I don't have experience in Bob's Burgers, so...
More known.
Yeah. Okay. So, what happens is next, Mr. Pricklepants, the hedgehog, tells her to inhabit her part greatly, but not just playing the dinosaur, but also being one, much to her confusion. Now, Mr. Pricklepants is voiced by Timothy Dalton, who, of course, is probably best known for his role as James Bond in two of the James Bond movies of the 80s. So apparently Pixar saw the scene of him knocking a guy into a cocaine shredder and licensed to kill him. We're like, yes, that is the guy we want for our talking hedgehog.
I mean, to be fair, WB saw him as well and was like, this is the perfect guy to play Charles Nider from Doom Patrol.
Yep. Let's see. Math, what are you going to say?
I mean, this is no different than Paramount looking at the John Wick movies and going, "Yes, that's our Black Hedgehog."
That is also true. Yep, go ahead,
Yeah,
Python. Let's talk about that.
yeah, but I mean, if they can make cartoons about Rambo, sure, why not get a voice actor who is known to do very brutal stuff for our children's film?
That is also true.
Absolutely. Like you never know until
Yep.
it happens.
Yep. But Bonnie then runs in again and claims that she found the dinosaur. She approaches Trixie, but it turns out in a pretty good little subversion, she ends up reaching for a Christmas tree ornament of a cat angel and calls her the Kittysaurus. She claims that the cat has thousands of eggs and bounces out all the various baubles on the tree. Then she brings the cat angel next to Trixie and has them nuzzle. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, at this point, the only role Bonnie hasn't given Trixie is being a great and powerful unicorn.
If that Trixie would have a lot more, less charitable things to say about her role in life. Let's put it that way. If she was a toy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surprised My Little Pony never showed up in Toy Story, to be honest, but kind of late for that now, unfortunately.
Indeed.
Go ahead, Angron.
Rights to it.
Also, this freaking angel is a mood. Like every time it's on screen, it's spouting some sort of nonsense, and it's just like either high or just absolutely okay with the things that's going on in life. Like,
One of
good
my favorite
lordy.
characters from the short.
Yeah, I definitely
know,
see
I
that.
know.
Yeah. Math?
I kind of got Lumily from the Mario movie vibes from this character. So if you remember
Yeah.
that character, you know what you're in for with this one.
Oh, yeah, I definitely could see that. But
Okay.
Well, what happens is Bonnie's mother calls her from the next room, claim that it's time to go. As she runs out of the room after saying to be continued, the toys all come to life and compliment Angel Kitty with her performance. I do like Mr. Pricklepants' little offhand comment on this is, "You did a fantastic job as a disgruntled lunch patron." And I think it's just, again, the matter-of-fact way he says that. It really, really is funny. But, of course, Trixie is frustrated over never getting to play as a dinosaur, and is annoyed when Rex and Mr. Potato Head tell her about Andy played with them as dinosaurs. But
Yeah.
Bonnie then re-enters the room and decides to take some toys to her play date with Mason, and she chooses to take Woody, Buzz, Rex, Trixie, and Angel Kitty in her Buzz Lightyear spaceship backpack. I do like how Trixie, the running gag of her being annoyed over being called a baby reindeer, is a pretty cute one, and as previously mentioned, this is the first time Angel Kitty actually speaks, and all of her dialogue is various, like, generic platitudes in, like, an extremely dull, like, dazed monotone, which is way funnier than it has any right to be. It's like she's not even aware of her surroundings half the time, because she's like a Christmas ornament. She's so instilled with, like, joy and wonder and things like that.
Fortune cookie companies, get on whatever she's saying. Like, you got a gold mine right here.
If Disney never made...
Feeling hanging on
Yeah.
a tree every year.
Definitely. If Disney never made Angel Kitty ornaments, they are sitting on a gold mine.
Yes.
But what happens when she arrives at Mason's house, it turns out he's not in his toy room, but he instead is in the other room and is fixated on a video game, the Optimum X, which basically to describe the Optimum X, think of a cross between a massage chair and the Virtual Boy.
Or that freaking massage chair and either the V Gear or the PS VR ever.
Yep, go ahead, Matt.
I would actually argue this thing looks like it's sort of designed like the Oculus headset.
Yeah, that too.
I definitely see it.
Yeah,
Shark?
they should have gotten this kid a Game Sphere instead.
It's spherical! Nice. But Trixie and Rex are amazed that Mason got the Optimum X and that he is playing it. I do like how there actually is a little bit of nice continuity here because Rex is still a huge video game fan because in Toy Story 2, that was kind of his arc that he was obsessed with like the Buzz Lightyear video game. And eventually he kind of got over it in that by knocking down Zurg down the elevator shaft. And I do like how they kind of call back to it here.
Yeah. Also, I call back to it in Toy Story 3, but honestly, what makes that moment even funnier is like, I don't need to play. I lived it. Honestly,
Yeah.
if he lived like through Tron or a bunch of other different video games like Mario and Luigi and maybe Mario Party, he would absolutely be like on top of the freaking world.
Yeah, it's. But I do like also how he says basically, oh, the limitations of my hands mean I can't play it. And then Angel Kitty has just a complete deadpan response of, limitations are the shackles that we all bind ourselves to. And the other toys just look at her like, what the hell is wrong with her? It really is hilarious.
She is stoned.
Yeah, but Mason tells Bonnie to play with him as she just throws her backpack into the other room as she's distracted by the video game, which, gee, I sure hope Bonnie doesn't get distracted with any of her other toys and decides to just abandon one. That would be silly. Yeah. But, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, something I like here is that when she throws her backpack, it plays like a crash landing scene. Like the shots and even some sound effects is like if they were in an actual rocket that is actually crashing in another planet.
Yep, I always love when they do that. They show things from the toy's perspective, and it's so much grander. And like I say, I really do like that. How it's almost like a POV of like the spaceship crashing, and like it actually like lands against a pillar and that. And again, that is such a creative moment.
I agree.
Go ahead, Shark.
Thankfully, in this short, Buzz Lightyear doesn't blame himself for the crash and won't try to return to the past over and over again, only to become his worst enemy by becoming Zorg.
Yeah, thank goodness that never happened either.
If only.
So basically, now we are in kind of a cross between the movie Planet of Dinosaurs and Mad Max, and I love how they basically saw both of those and were like, let's do that for our Christmas special, which also a little bit of a spoiler here, we are going to talk about Planet of Dinosaurs in the future, and spoiler, it's not good. But for now, let's talk about this. I do like how, of course, the Pizza Planet truck makes its cameo. Here it's a little toy truck on the table. Yep, always nice to see that. But the group all get out of the backpack as Rex mentions that they're not going to be played with. Buzz remarks that no one can resist an Optimum X. Yep. They wonder where the rest of Mason's toys are as Trixie notices a giant series of boxes called Battlesaurs. And these are the titular toys that Time forgot. And the Battlesaurs are basically a dinosaur version of Thundercats. That's probably the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, they also remind me a bit of He-Man as well as freaking what I can. Well, okay, honestly, yeah, I get the Thundercats and He-Man thing more from these things. Yep. Also, technically Dungeons and Dragons, but that's kind of stretching it a little bit.
Yep.
Anyways, Matt.
Also, yep, go ahead.
A dinosaur version of Thundercats. Extreme dinosaurs, please don't sue.
Yeah. But yeah, also interesting fact is that Disney actually got Studio Trigger to animate an opening for like a Battlesaurs cartoon as like a promotional thing for this.
That's right, they did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it is awesome, and if we got a Buzz Lightyear cartoon, and that was awesome, we should get a Battlesaurs cartoon. That would be amazing. If they did something to, like, satirize the 80s, like, merchandise-driven cartoons, while at the same time it being a love letter, but also, there's ways you can do that. You can have it be, like, with the extreme action fighting, and then have, like, at the end for, like, 2 minutes, oh, kids, be sure to hold hands when crossing the street. Something like that.
Yes, and have it all be in the style of freaking Studio Trigger. That would be awesome.
Definitely. Shark, you were saying?
Yeah, it's always nice when big companies or studios get help from other studios to do this kind of stuff. Like Angron mentioned Studio Trigger, who Way Forgot got them to make an intro for the 5th Shantae game, or Nintendo, who got help from the Robot Chicken team to make like shorts for their E3 games and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always awesome when that happens. It always is.
Also, Transformers getting their special 40th anniversary animation by Studio Trigger as well. Like, Studio Trigger were massive Transformers nerds like me.
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, again, shame no Transformers in the Toy Story universe, but oh well.
Technically, yes, but that was in Toy Story of Terror.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So basically what happens is a tiny lizard toy in one of the boxes suddenly comes to life and runs off, barking and yelping as Trixie follows it. The group all go past a series of board games under the bed, only to find themselves in a complete set of Battlesaur toys with all the various toy landscapes and that there, and it is really cool how it feels like it's a real playset that, again, kids would eat this up. I'm not sure if nowadays, or definitely if this is an 80s Toyland, kids would eat this thing up.
Absolutely.
I can see it.
Yep. But the group walk past a tower with motion controls as an alarm goes off as soon as they go past it. All of the Battlesaurs come out of their hiding places and brandish spears as they circle Bonnie's toys. We get another adorable moment with Angel Kitty where she's just cuddling against one of the tiny lizards, and again, that's such a sweet moment there.
Yes, cuddle the lizard, cuddle
Yep.
the dino.
Yep. I do like how Bonnie's toys are more impressed than scared of the Battlesaurs because, again, they don't know their true nature in that. But the Battlesaurs all demand to know who they are, as Trixie says in a dramatic voice that they are savage warriors, eager to slay our thirstless quest, our endless thirst for conquest. Sorry about that, kind of screwed that up. But anyway, yep. All the Battlesaurs basically stand at attention as Trixie and Rex note how serious they take their roles. And so here we get the main hero, let's say hero Battlesaur, Reptilius Maximus, who is a large, muscular red dinosaur who I guess we consider the Lion-O/He-Man of the group.
Smash.
Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead, Meth.
Yeah, Reptilius Maximus is easily my favorite character in this entire thing because he takes it so seriously. There's just a really great charm and presence about him that works incredibly well, and I think that this is a reason why I would love to see this as a series as well.
I agree. He strikes that balance between He-Man, Lion-O, and pretty much your basic 80s show protagonist. But he also has a genuine feel to him. He understands enough to not really be considered too dim-witted or anything like that. But he's not. But he's still young. He doesn't know anything outside of his own universe, as it were.
Yep, and we're definitely going to get to why in a second, but basically what happens is Woody attempts to greet him, but the Battlesaur just walks right past him and introduces himself to the dinosaurs, as we get another funny moment with how Trixie's reaction to him is really just hilarious with the music and that. It's almost like the Barbie and Ken meeting in Toy Story 3, but not as much, if that makes sense.
Nice.
Yep. I do like also the moment where she introduces herself to Reptilius, and he says, "You are not like our females." And we got a quick cutaway gag almost to a series of female Battlesaurs, one of which just lets out an ear-piercingly loud battle cry with a hilarious screaming face.
Yes, that was funny.
That was they're all the duck-billed dinosaurs. I can never remember those guys' names.
Either Kentrosaurus or Parasaurolophus. It honestly depends, but
Yep.
I hear that, and it's just a very hilarious juxtaposition.
Oh, easily. Yep. But what happens next, of course, is that suddenly trumpets are heard as the Cleric arrives. Now, the Cleric is an elderly pterodon who rolls into frame as he shoos away both two smaller versions of himself. Basically, the design of him is, imagine Ridley from Metroid as an old man. That's kind of what you're getting here. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah, I was about to mention that, retirement didn't quite work for Ridley.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Math.
As soon as I saw him, actually thought, oh yeah, Dark Crystal, Skeksis. Disney owns Jim Henson these days. That makes sense.
I was gonna mention that. Oh my gosh.
I don't think they own Dark Crystal, though. I think that's still owned by the Hensons.
Yeah, they don't own that one, but this guy looks
goodness.
like Skeksis.
Huh, could have been intentional. I did not actually consider that. But Buzz jokes that now we know where the fossils are as Woody laughs at this. The Cleric asks who they are as Trixie claims they come from the Bonnie tribe. The Cleric tells her and Rexus to leave their offerings of the other toys and go, but Reptilius asks the Cleric if all dinosaurs are welcome in their city. The Cleric begrudgingly agrees, then tells him to put armor on Rex and Trixie as he, quote, finds their lack of armor disturbing, which I'm sorry. This reference really just made me roll my eyes. There's a difference between, like, in Toy Story 2, the iconic, "No, Buzz, I am your father." No! There's a difference between that and this. I think the fact that back then it felt clever, now it just feels like pandering, because Disney owned Star Wars, and they owned it when this was made. It feels like it's kind of like a snake eating its own tail thing. It doesn't feel like any more clever than it used to, if that makes sense.
It would have worked better if Rexilius you said, "Good grief, you're naked!"
Maybe.
That would have been better. Go ahead.
I
Hang
will
on.
say this though. I do like. I will say this though. Like the fact that it's like, how dare they walk around without armor on? Pretty much implies that, like honestly, like without armor, they're pretty much without nothing on. Which
Yep.
cool.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Uh,
Sexy Trixie.
yeah. Well, they didn't own The Simpsons at the time, so it would have been more clever. Sure. But Woody and Buzz, of course, just want to get out of there, but they're kidnapped by two of the larger Battlesaurs. The Cleric laughs evilly.
Indeed.
Yep. What happens is we then cut to one of the Battlesaurs. Battlesaurs are having armor put on them by a much smaller worker one. Reptilius approaches the smaller worker and tells him to work on this dinosaur goddess, which... Okay, Trixie is cute. I don't know if she's a goddess, per se, you know?
I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
Yeah. But like I say, basically what happens is the small worker coos over her design before opening up the giant chest of accessories. Trixie picks and chooses various ones and is happy over what a fun time she's having. Rex asks if he can get a turn as Reptilius mentions that he did not forget about him. Trixie comes out decked from head to toe in armor as Rex eagerly steps up next. And this, for some reason, reminded me a little bit of Billy and Mandy because Billy had these dinosaur toys that had like all this crazy armor on it, and it definitely, for some reason, that just popped in my head when I saw these guys.
yeah.
Shut up, Aslo!
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of that one scene from freaking Billy and Mandy, ho ho whatever. It was the Christmas special where Santa becomes a vampire. But in that scene, Grimm uses a freaking toy robot to shoot toy missiles at a bunch of elf bats, knocking them down. He's like, ah, and he accidentally shoots one in the eye and falls himself.
Speaking of that special, I always remember the scene of, "Oh, come every time I bring you to the mud, you burn it to the ground. I blame the economy."
Oh god, I wish I could talk about the Billy and Mandy Christmas session. That was so unhinged.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mrs. Claus is an evil vampire, and Gilbert Godfrey as Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Your soul!
I remembered that one.
Classic. But getting back to this one, basically, what happens is Rex then eagerly steps up as the Cleric indicates basically to work on Rex in a different way. We then cut to Trixie and Rex to see Rex's chain is basically a giant set of robot arms, and he's overjoyed with them. Sorry, Paladin, you were saying? It's all good. Basically, what happens is... Shark, go ahead.
Well, now with those arms, he can actually beat Zorg in the game.
Yep. Sure. That's very true. So, basically what happens is the pair make their way through their home, which is called Battleopolis, as Trixie points out how wonderful everything is with the prehistoric buildings, the dinosaur cars, which obviously they stole from Earl Sinclair, and a giant tower. The tower, which is called the Battlesaurs Triassic Tower of the Dream Elders, has a giant brain-like dinosaur head on it, which basically is a dinosaur version of Krang, if you want to get down to it.
It also reminds me a bit of Mother Brain. So basically, you have Mother Brain and Ridley in the same place.
I guess they got
Great
tired.
when.
They got tired of getting blown out by Samus so much that they said, screw it, let's just go to this dinosaur planet.
Sure. Well, it worked out better for them here, at least, for a while. But what happens is Reptilius tells her that distant voices from another world would tell them things through it, which Trixie's reaction of Bonnie just yells at us from across the room in a funny voice is a good one. But the cleric
Yeah.
watches on in evilly as Reptilius takes her to his volcano home with a comment of, everybody needs an apartment shaped like their own head, being a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
But, go ahead, Chuck, sorry.
well, it works for Wario having his face on the moon, so sure, why not?
Yep, it definitely
Also,
works.
Eggman pissing on the moon.
That is also true. But as they gaze over Battleopolis, Trixie reflects on the words of Prickle Pants as Reptilius tells her that battling is both their life and their legacy. And it's here we get something that really took me off guard. There's an unexpected musical number as the Battlesaurs sing about their life and history. And in a really funny joke, it sounds like either like a TV show theme or a commercial jingle, complete with like one of them doing a guitar lick at the end.
Yeah, meanwhile, Studio Trigger's like, write that down!
Yeah. If they ever make that Battlesaur series, this has got to be the theme song.
Yes, so much yes.
Yeah. But what happens basically is that Trixie is impressed by this and she tells them that they seem to have everything. Reptilius tells Trixie that she is a puzzle, which in a cute joke causes her to correct him that she's a posable action figure. He then mentions how fun their playtime must be as Reptilius does not understand, even as Trixie tries explaining it to him. Reptilius mentions that Trixie is causing him to question everything that his life knows as the cleric watches on in annoyance. He presses a little button on his staff as the Triassic Tower comes to life, which tells him that it's time for battle. All the Battlesaurs then run to the Arena of Woe to watch the latest fight, which it's at this point that this special turns from Planet of Dinosaurs into Beyond Thunderdome. Unfortunately, though, this special does not have a Tina Turner Battlesaur. Boo.
Boo.
It's also by
go ahead, Chuck.
this point where I noticed that, wait a minute, not only is this Colosseum big enough for like an adult man to fit in, stand in the middle, but there's like over 100 dinosaurs in the audience. And it's pretty much implied that every single one was a Christmas gift, so how rich is this kid?
He must be like, let's not look up what his dad does. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Anyway, Meth?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing too when I saw just that giant coliseum of toys. Between that and the VR headset, I was like, is this Remy Bucksaplenty?
Good
Nice.
day.
I understood that reference. Also,
Anyway, go ahead.
Also on the Thunderdome reference, 2 go in, 1 comes out. 2 go in,
Yeah.
1 comes out.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Those are
Classic.
warlords in eternal shame.
Yep. But Reptilius enters the arena to the cheers of all the other toys. Trixie is amazed at the cheering crowd, then lets out a series of roars. The crowd cheers for her as well. The cleric slowly arrives to his position. I guess this means he's the toy equivalent of Lightning Larry Luciano. He's almost a quarter of the way there.
He's almost there.
Yep.
He's like
but
man
then,
just like struggling to play the instrument, like,
yeah. He's on his position, let the fight begin. But what happens is he does say let the battle begin, and a group of toys are led into the area, consisting of a tiny knight, a penguin, and a giant plush monkey. Trixie greets all of them eagerly, thinking that it's still all a game, and plans their battle before noticing how scared they are. And it's here where we get this. This is where the special goes completely off the rails. Because, Reptilius steps forward and basically uses the mace he carries to knock the knight toy out of the arena, as Trixie is shocked, asking why they're being so violent. The cleric gives a thumbs down, which, that's not historically accurate, but let's not get into that.
we do not care.
Yeah, we don't care, of course, it's just a cartoon, but basically what happens is he gives a thumb down, and it's here where we get the moment that really just, like, shocked me. Reptilius decapitates the penguin, and in an incredibly dark moment, its head flies off into the crowd, and a Battlesaur catches it. Its headless little body waddles around before stumbling over, and it's like, you really got away with this, because it's just a toy, you know, but it's like really dark imagery there. But that's not the darkest moment, because Trixie then turns to see a group of toys with all their parts and heads on sticks, as a sunflower toy says, "It's Doomsday," which, wow, I'm just amazed that they got away with this for their Christmas special, mind you.
Yes.
Yep. Go ahead, Chug.
Hey, little Timmy, I got you a Christmas movie about those toy movies you like a lot, sure you will. Oh my god, they just beheaded that penguin.
Yeah, definitely. And Math?
A family picture.
Yeah, nice.
Oh. Yeah,
Classic.
and on that note, honestly, Astro Boy got away with worse, given how a lot of robots died, even though they were labeled as people, as it were. Also, just good lordy, I thank goodness Prickle Pants wasn't there. He would definitely have some commentary on that, or it would probably be like a joke referencing his James Bond movies.
Yeah. Go ahead, Math.
Actually, thinking about it seriously, this does make sense. These are effectively 80s style action cartoons toys, so this fits perfectly with what you would expect in the series.
Yeah, it really does when getting out. And Python?
That Astro Boy comment about the robots. So I think that gets more of a pass because it was originally a Japanese cartoon in like the 80s, I believe. But
technically the 40s and 60s when it came to America.
But anyway, they it probably didn't have the bad reception that you guys are probably thinking because everyone expects it from Astro Boy because it's kind of violent anyway.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But anyway,
still,
that's
pretty
I
violent.
definitely can see that. Yeah. But like I say, this is pretty violent too, especially with what happens next, because the monkey plush basically lunges at Reptilius. He uses his mace to basically rip the stuffing on the monkey's arm, then tosses it into the pit, where it's seemingly eaten by the tiny lizards with all of its fluff flying everywhere. Which again, this is their Christmas special. It really is
knew how to
amazing.
do Christmas back then.
Yep, they sure did. But what happens is Woody and Buzz are also thrown into the arena as Woody tries telling Trixie that the Battlesaurs aren't playing and don't know their toys. And it's here where we get probably one of the best laughs in this episode for me with Buzz's amazing, isn't it? With Woody's comment about them not knowing their toys. Yeah, you definitely got a good laugh. I mean, that little non-reference in the first movie. Go ahead, Math.
I refuse to believe this special featuring dinosaurs is a Christmas special. We did not see Raptor Jesus once.
True.
Boo.
Nice.
Should have had him come down and save everything, but, oh well. What happens is the Cleric then makes a throat-slitting motion as Reptilius lunges for Woody and Buzz with his mace. Woody holds him a red crayon for defense, but Reptilius basically snaps it in half with his mace, which it turns into a slow-mo shot, which this definitely has to be a spoof of 300, at least this shot, like the red crayon flecks flying everywhere, and it being all in slow motion with it getting on Woody's face and that, and if it is, that is really funny.
Yeah.
They would reference 300, and it's finally a reference to 300 that isn't related to This Is Sparta. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, I was about to comment that the only thing that the only thing missing here is Reptilius kicking Woody into the pit, but
Yeah, could have had that, but oh well. But what happens is Buzz attempts to throw the remaining crayon half at Reptilius, but just bounces off of him. So I guess Buzz was like, "Stand back! I'm warning ya." Okay, I warned ya. Did you win?
Hi, Buzz.
Classic. But we then get Buzz, of course, in shock, basically puts on his helmet as Reptilius lunges at both Woody and Buzz. We do get a really cool sequence here with the two managing to dodge Reptilius' attacks, with some really cool animation here, and there's some funny moments here, like Woody literally hiding on top of Reptilius' mace in a funny moment.
Yeah.
There's also go ahead, sorry.
Also, building on that, I'm just imagining Buzz and Woody doing "I'm Dirty Dan," and Woody and Buzz
Nice.
screaming will get you nowhere, and it's helmet gets ripped off,
and
it's freaking Reptile's which one of thou beeth Dirty Dan? I am.
Sure. Nice. But we get another funny moment here with Buzz trying to fight back, but is overpowered, and every time he's slammed against the ground, we get to hear the Buzz, Lightyear to the rescue audio clip, and again, that is funny that they remember that he has that on him, you know?
That will never not be funny.
Same. But before Reptilius can knock them both into the pit, Trixie leaps up in front of him and tells him to leave him alone before knocking him away. The Cleric is enraged at this and summons the Goliathon. The Goliathon is basically a giant toy that is brought to the arena in chains, another funny 300 reference with the giant that they bring in, as it manages to basically eat Woody and Buzz. Trixie notices that it has a small button on its side and fires the missiles at it, which, even though it does not release Woody and Buzz, it basically wakes it back up as it manages to knock over Trixie. And it's here where all the Battlesaurs see Trixie's Bonnie riding on her paw, and they all gasp at this.
Gee, big shock.
Yep, because the Cleric says that she bears the mark of obedience, as Reptilius and Trixie both mention how they thought they knew each other, but really didn't. The Cleric then mentions to bring out the Supplicator, which, sadly, is not related to Zurg's Transdipulator.
Huh.
If only.
Yeah, if only it was.
At this point, Reptilius kinda changes to "You broke my heart. Now I'm gonna break something of yours."
Definitely like that. And basically, the Supplicator appears to be something like a PS2 controller. I definitely got that vibe from the design. And it turns out that the Supplicator can control Rex's robot arms and legs as he forces him to attack Trixie. Trixie manages to dodge him and runs out of the arena. We do get a really interesting kind of thing that Pixar doesn't really do a lot, because when three of the little lizards bite her tail, they let out that generic cartoon chomp sound effect that you've heard in probably a lot of Hanna-Barbera stuff like Flintstones and Yogi Bear and that. It's one of those generic cartoon sound effects. But Pixar almost never uses this, so it's very noticeable when they do it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's nice though.
So, basically what happens next is Trixie manages to dislodge them, and she has them bite the faces of the three Battlesaurs that are blocking the exit. The Cleric orders Reptilius to stop her as Trixie runs to the playroom. Trixie then sees all the Battlesaur boxes and gets an idea, managing to lead him into a maze of boxes before he stops and sees his own box. Which, this moment, honestly, is probably the best moment of the movie. Not the funniest, but probably the best one, because how he sees a child playing with him, his home, and his name on the box causes him to stare in shock for a few seconds. The shot of him basically walking into his box and seeing the plastic he came in, with his eyes growing wide in shock over seeing basically a molded version of him, is honestly the best looking shot of the movie, because it conveys so much in like maybe 5 seconds of like his thought process behind this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile Buzz is like, "Welcome to the club, buddy." Oh
Yep.
wait, this doesn't matter much. Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's anyway, go ahead, Math.
Yeah, this scene is probably my favorite in the movie, but because of how messed up my brain is, as he was walking towards the molding and casing that held him, all I could think was, "This hole, it's made for me."
Oh,
Nice.
It actually was made for him.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It very much was. There we go, ahead, Chuck.
But yeah. And at the very least, he took it better than Buzz. At least he didn't end as a toy for a tea party.
Yeah,
He didn't end up as Mrs. Nesbit.
yeah, sure. That would have been funny if he did, but sadly it does not happen. But basically, Reptilius' response to this is a lot more violent. He basically smashes the box with his mace before continuing to trace Trixie, which you think that after having such an existential crisis like that, he'd be a little more shocked, but I guess Battlesaurs are built differently, I guess.
Yeah, he's
But-
taking it a lot better than Buzz did. Well, as
Yep.
well as a freaking prehistoric warrior can take it at least.
Yep. But then we cut to the Triassic Tower as the Cleric is using it to watch Mason play his video game, cackling in glee. The Goliathon arrives to the area as the Cleric basically forces Rex to open it, and it's here we get an unintentionally funny moment because Rex's mask, it looks like Bane from Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I did not see the light until I was a man.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oops.
That honestly, like, makes me think of Rex saying, "Nobody cared who I was till I put on the mask." Ah!
Yeah, I definitely see. Go ahead, Math.
You think
I love how surprised Woody and Buzz are at Rex being controlled like that, and all I could think was, "I know, inconceivable, isn't it?"
Inconceivable.
Nice.
I do
And,
not think
Shark?
it means what you think it means.
Ha, classic. Shark?
no, nothing.
Oh, okay, it's all good. Sorry.
Sorry,
Sorry.
man.
But, okay, anyway, what happens is he opens up the Goliathon as Woody, Buzz, and Angel Kitty fall out of it. Woody and Buzz watch the Cleric watching Mason and Bonnie on the video game, and they realize that he's glad they got the Optimum X as the Cleric reveals that he's the only Battlesaur who knows he's a toy, and he basically rules over them all there
Yep.
because of this. There's a really great joke here with the Cleric claiming that his Battlesaurs are content in their ignorance, followed by two of them saying, "What's ignorance? Don't know."
It's fun.
It's like it's the simplest jokes like that really can hit you hard, with how funny it is.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I've always enjoyed jokes that are so dumb they actually circle back around into being brilliant.
Yes.
That's exactly it. And
Shark?
Shark?
Yeah, that scene also makes me think of the ending of the Mitchells movie where the two robots are like, "Brother, what is that?" And they just stare to the screen blankly.
Yeah, classic. That's a great movie right there. But what happens? Yep.
Yeah.
What happens is Woody then mentions how the Cleric managed to take over the playroom only 2 days since after Christmas. So I guess we screwed up. This is not a Christmas movie. This is a post-Christmas, pre-New Year's Eve movie. So I guess we should have done this next week. But the Cleric asks what Christmas is, as Angel Kitty says, "The joy you give to others is the joy that comes back to you." I do like how all of the other Battlesaurs are just so in awe over her. They just go like, "Oh," over how adorable she is. And the Cleric basically has to smack one over the head with his staff to get it back to normal.
Yeah. Definitely blissful in their ignorance. What's ignorance? I don't know.
Classic. But the Cleric says they'll then be brought to the pit, not to be confused with the other pit that we just talked about, or Pit from Kid Icarus.
Or the pit of despair.
That one too.
You know.
Yep. This pit turns out to be a giant ventilation fan on the floor. Go ahead, Shark.
Well, it could be worse. It could be Mario's Tunnel of Doom.
Very scary.
Very scary.
Yeah. But yeah, this pit turns out to be a giant ventilation fan on the floor, at least giant to them, which, definitely an odd design choice there, but what do I know? I'm not an interior decorator. Meanwhile, Trixie runs into the room where Mason and Bonnie are playing the video game. Trixie runs under the TV set and sees a vast array of wires, basically runs through them as pieces of all of her Battlesaur armor falls off as she goes through it. Rex, meanwhile, is being controlled as Woody and Buzz tell him to fight it while the Battlesaurs stomp their spears. We cut back to Trixie, noticing that the switch of the video game is there. It goes to turn it off, but Rotilius tries to stop her. She's just about to press the switch when Rotilius tries to basically stop her again, claiming that he is a Battlesaur and nothing else. She convinces him that the world is much bigger than he knows, and that she can show him what both the world and what he truly are. We get another kind of neat moment where Angel Kitty plays a mournful song in her trumpet before one of the Battlesaurs says, "Enough of that," and throws it in the fan, shredding it to pieces, which makes me wonder how Bonnie is going to explain losing the part of the Christmas ornament, but okay.
Okay, firstly, when we get to that moment, you'll see why. Also, second, the song that she's playing when they walk over to the freaking fan is "O Come, Emmanuel."
I did not know that.
Well,
Go ahead, Chuck.
all I could think when that happened was also the scene in Shrek 2 where the trumpet guy. Enough,
Yeah.
Reggie.
Yeah, enough, Reggie.
Classic. That's another great one.
Good times.
But what happens next is that she tells Reptilius that it's up to the kid to choose who you are, whether it be a Battlesaur, baby reindeer, or literally anything else. She says that no matter what, it's all about being there for your kid, as Reptilius realizes what he must do. He drops his mace and falls over, which also turns off the video game console. And the way it's shot, it's almost like one of those movies where the guy basically jumps off a building or something like that and sacrifices himself. And the way it's done like that is really kind of creative because it's kind of like the whole Warrior's Debt thing, but because it's like a toy dinosaur in that, there's an inherent comicalness to it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yep. Basically, what happens is he drops his mace and falls over. As Mason reaches under the TV to find Reptilius there, he turns on the video game again, but Bonnie sees Reptilius and begins to play with him, pretending he's from another planet, and then they can go find his magical igloo.
Huh.
Meanwhile, Woody and Buzz are held over the fan as the cleric laughs evilly, but literally just as he's about to drop them in, Mason and Bonnie run into the playroom, which has all the toys, of course, to become inert, and they all start to play with them. And it's here where you really got to consider the inherent creepiness of the Toy Story franchise, because for the cleric, this has got to be like a I have no mouth and I must scream moment, because the kids call him Uncle Wormy and have him breakdance. And it's like, you know, it is just, when you really break it down and consider it, it is weird.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but it's honestly funny just looking at him being like, "Someone end my misery, St. Louis, Missouri."
Well,
oh my
sweet
gosh.
moment.
Classic.
Well, this is my life now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what it's like. And again, it really makes you stop and consider like the inherent, you know, eeriness of the Toy Story universe as a whole. And this guy was like an evil dictator and all that sort of stuff. Now he's breakdancing Uncle Wormy, and that's all he's gonna be.
Yeah. And then I'm reminded of that one line from Toy Story 2 where Bo's like, "Yeah, let him watch."
Nice. But they even play with the toys that were hurt in the Coliseum, putting robot arms in the monkey plush, which, okay, I guess his arms are permanently gone now because he's got to have these robot arms, but still, they kind of gloss over it. But what happens is, I do like the moment where Reptilius basically pants wildly and he says, "That was glorious," after being played with which is, kind of a double entendre there, haha.
Yeah, honestly, like you'd think that was his first time.
Yeah,
Quote
yeah.
good
you were saying?
lordy. Taken out of context, that would honestly be the most interesting thing.
Yeah. But anyway, Bonnie and Mason's parents basically make another play date as Trixie is lifted off the ground with Reptilius watching her in awe. We then cut back to Bonnie's house as Woody, Buzz, and Rex tell the others about what happened. I do like Rex's line of, "I was a mindless automaton," and Mr. Potato Head's, "Well, that figures." That's a good bit. That's just an understated good bit, you know?
Yep, they know, and they're okay with it.
Yep. Mr. Pricklepants basically asks Trixie if she found her role, as she says that she can be anything at all as long as she's Bonnie's and that Bonnie loves her and that. We then get kind of a interesting moment as Angel Kitty says, "Be grateful for your gifts. They are all around you." And then they turn around and Angel Kitty is gone, which, very interesting, you know, like, makes you wonder what she really was in that. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
She 100% was like a spirit of Christmas. There is no denying that at this point. Like, she straight up either like is on the tree or just is like gone. Like, she was just never there or to begin with.
Exactly. So,
Math?
anyway, yep. Yeah, Matthew, you were saying?
When she disappeared like that, I was actually waiting for the X-Files theme to play.
Classic.
Tell us what it was said, or she had to go home. She had to go now because her planet needed her.
She died on her way
Angel
there.
Kitty died on her way to her own planet. She's dead. She's dead, kids. Sorry for that terrible crusty impression. Sorry. But yeah, the special also has a really nice ending as during the credits we see all of the Battlesaur toys basically content. Even like the Cleric is smiling and he has kind of like a nightlight form section on him, which is really a cute little concept in that. And it's a Reptilius basically waking up and going to the window, basically claiming that I will await the moment for when Trixie of the Bonnie tribe returns to me. Thursday at 3:30, which, again, it's funny and it's also really kind of sweet in a way, how basically these violent, like, you know, toy-like things were able to have a more peaceful existence in that. You know, it really does work out.
Yeah, and then they'll do a little play session, quote unquote.
Ha ha ha. But seriously though, it is such a sweet little moment in that, you know?
I agree.
It really, really is. It's kind of the perfect ending to it, in other words. But what happens is Toy Story, that's basically it for the whole special, and Toy Story That Time Forgot actually got really good reviews and did well in the ratings, and I think it's really fun. It really does hold up, because again, I feel like it explores so much of the Toy Story world that we do not know as of yet, and it still really, really holds up.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's not, in my opinion, as good as it's not as good as Toy Story of Terror, which I really love and was honestly comedic. But I really enjoy this one. It's heartfelt. It pretty much embodies pretty much what Toy Story Christmas would look and feel like. Reptilicus is a great character, and overall, what they do in this series is pretty amazing. And again, I like Toy Story of Terror better, but I still absolutely love this as well. It very much holds a special place in my heart.
Definitely, 100%. And like I say, one other thing too to point out is that I really feel like Toy Story could have just continued with these kind of specials, because there is so much you can do with them. You know, you could do like Toy Story at the beach, Toy Story at like a movie theater. There are so many places you can take these characters, or like different concepts, different kind of things in that. You know, different
Yeah.
even like parodies of other genres, and you know, I really feel like there's such a world of possibilities with it, and I feel like, unfortunately, we're not going to talk too much about it because we want to talk more about positive things, but I feel like Toy Story 4 kind of painted them in a box, and judging from what Toy Story 5 is going to be with apps bad and evil AI robot Buzz Lightyears, it's going to be like, okay, then that's going to be something.
Yeah, more and more Disney has been going down a hole that honestly a lot of us aren't going to be able to follow. But
Unfortunately.
I think we should really hold the special memories in our heart, which brings us to today's question. What is our favorite Pixar or Toy Story moment? Blood?
Yep. Okay. Well, I had like the first two on VHS as a kid, and I've always loved them, rewatched them like hundreds of times, especially the first one, which honestly was probably my favorite movie for like a couple of years, as a matter of fact. And yeah, it's so hard to choose, but I am of the opinion that I think Toy Story 2 is actually better than the first Toy Story, because I feel like it has a better story and it has like more comedy in that. And for my all-time favorite moment is actually one I mentioned earlier in the episode, sadly, so hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm repeating myself. It is the part with the utility belt Buzz, as he's called, and Zurg. Just that entire sequence of them on the elevator. It is just joke after joke after joke. Like, you know, basically Zurg with like the bouncy balls and that, Buzz taking like the washers and throwing it at him, and of course, you know, no, Buzz, I am your father. No! And then, of course, you know, Rex basically runs up, Buzz, you can beat Zurg. You just have to believe in yourself. He actually turns around, hits Zurg with his tail, and Zurg falls down the elevator. No! And Rex, I did it. I beat Zurg. And then utility belt Buzz, Father. But then it has such a great payoff, a perfect payoff. Like maybe like 10 minutes later when they leave the place, and that they leave Al's apartment complex, and they basically see, you know, Buzz, you know, hey, utility belt Buzz, you gonna join with us? Nope, I'm gonna play with my dad. And he throws one of the bouncy balls at Zurg, and it just bonks him on the head. Good job, Buzz. That's my boy. Oh boy, I love you, Dad. It is such great writing. It is like, you know, the absolute, I think, pinnacle comedy of Buzz Lightyear, and I am so glad, even though Pixar doesn't want to acknowledge it and they didn't like it and stuff, I am just so glad that we managed to actually get a great, great show like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command that actually took Zurg and the comedic possibilities with him and did it tenfold, because, I mean, he's too good of a character not to, you know?
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, Toy Story 3 in general has really, really great moments in general. Toy Story 2, rather. It has such really funny moments. It has like the When She Loved Me moment. It has that's always a tearjerker, even to this day. It has, you know, the entire part of Woody's rap, which is so, so charming. The way they actually replicate like these cheap old kid shows in the 50s, like you can actually see the strings like the Animal Buddies and at one point, I think the set actually falls down for like a split second, and
Nah.
it's one of those things they don't have to do, but it's really cool that they did it. And basically, everything with Al's toy barn is great too. Like, and Al himself, like, they got Wayne Knight to voice him, so basically he voiced Al and he voiced Zurg. So I mean, even better.
Perfect.
But yeah, amazing. But yeah, everything with Al's toy barn is great too, especially when they go to Al's office and the two boxing robots. Excuse me, have you seen a cowboy? Well, no, I haven't. He was talking to me. No, he was talking to me. And then they start boxing each other, and one of the heads
Yes.
flies off. That is funny.
Toy Story 2 is a trip. And I
That's a
love it.
great one. That is probably my pick though. But for my favorite Toy Story like moment is definitely got to be the Zurg versus Buzz of Toy Story 2. Honestly, Toy Story 3 is good. It's really good. They could have ended it with Toy Story 2, and I think I would have been just fine. I'm not saying Toy Story 3 was bad or unnecessary because it's a fantastic movie, but there's just something about it, for me at least, that doesn't click like the first two. And again, maybe it's just a me thing. You know, it has really great moments in that, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Oh, well, but again, that's my pick for my one on a more positive thing. It's going to be Buzz versus Zurg from Toy Story 2 because, again, perfect from beginning to end. Like, that's a moment that I could be like 100 and I will laugh hysterically at that. So, and what would your favorite Toy Story moments or memories be?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I mean, yeah, I'm obviously going to agree Toy Story 2 was definitely part of my childhood. My parents owned both both Toy Story 1 and 2 in a singular box set. But I think for that particular dive down memory lane, I'm going to have to go to Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Like, hands down.
Ooh,
Like,
yes.
I love Toy Story 2. It's amazing. It's got so much to talk about in terms of that. But Star Command definitely had me gripped a lot more so. Like, honestly, like it's honestly what Andy felt when he got Buzz for the first time.
Yeah. Like I say, that is such a great moment that again, Buzz Lightyear Star Command is definitely one of those spin-offs that you could tell the people who made it, they had so much fun making it. Like, it was like a love letter to all sci-fi while also spoofing it. And again, it really feels like in-universe Buzz Lightyear. Like, that is the thing that every kid would want from the Saturday morning cartoon. Not like the Lightyear movie, but we just neither here nor there. But
I liked Lightyear. I'll die on that hill saying it wasn't as bad as everyone's saying it was, but compared to Buzz Lightyear Star Command, step aside, you Padawan, bitch. But yeah, I'll definitely say Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Like, Booster, just everyone in that was amazing. Wayne Knight as Buzz, Zurg, sorry, and also weird missed opportunity, but they didn't get Adam West as freaking Buzz Lightyear in the cartoon. That would have been funny.
yeah, I definitely can see that. And again, kind of a shame that Pixar themselves didn't like it, but no, that is a great one right there. Yep.
Well, screw them. Just because they don't like it doesn't mean we don't.
No, of course, but unfortunately they're the guys that make the rules, so sad. But let's see who's next. Math, what would you say your favorite Toy Story memory or moment would be?
Well, old man Math again. I grew up with the Toy Story movies. I believe I was roughly Andy's age when the first one came out. Once
Nice.
again, dating myself
Wow.
here. So I'm pretty sure you can see where this one's going. Toy Story 3, the ending. Andy giving away his toys to Bonnie.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Like I say, I know I kind of mentioned that Toy Story 3 didn't really do anything, but I will give this. That ending is perfect. Perfect. Like, it is like you can tell that Pixar put all their effort into that.
Yeah, I think that it had a bigger punch being the guy that grew up with it and seeing Andy grow up to a little bit younger than me, but effectively my age, so sort of a real time thing, and then how it's handled and just the way that it's done, the way that it's orchestrated, just how much raw emotion they put into something as what sounds childish as just giving away your toys. That they realize no, that is a big emotional step for a person to fully realize, oh, I am growing up now.
Yeah.
That's something that can cut real deep, and the way they handle it is just so brilliantly done, especially looking at it from the toys perspective as well as Andy's.
Yeah, I feel ya. I love Toy Story 3, hands down.
Yeah, again, like I say, it really was the perfect way for the films to end, and it definitely brings a tear to everybody's eye, especially the part where Woody watches, Andy driving off to college, and Andy looks at him in the rear view mirror and says, "Thanks, guys," with a little tear. And again, that is so beautiful. Pixar really were on top of their game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
What a great way to end the film series. Toy Story 4 does not
Yep.
exist.
Yeah.
Oh, and probably the upcoming Toy Story 5 does not as well. So let's see. Shark, what would your favorite Toy Story memory or moment be?
Well, I did mention that of the whole Pixar collection, Toy Story 2 is my favorite of all of them. Like I mentioned, it was mostly because that's when the world really started to feel big. Like you were kind of in the shoes of the toys. Like a simple toy barn looks so big, and that's something I generally like about the second movie. You really feel like you're in there. You really felt the big world the toys were seeing and all that. And I think one of my favorite settings in the movie is actually Al's apartment, because I remember everything regarding the Woody's random merchandise. I don't know why, but I guess when I saw it as a kid, I thought it was cool, but the way it was presented, like when Woody sees this, the color changes to this vintage color, and you have this music and Angron.
Honestly, on that note, I definitely want to get the whole snake in my boot gun as well as the knock the teeth
Yeah.
in sort of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, Shark, continue talking about that.
I was saying, pretty much the most memorable moments for me happen in Al's apartment, and of course the most memorable moment in the whole franchise that is a moment everybody remembers because of how it was made. I'm talking about the scene where the guy fixes Woody's arm and starts cleaning him up and making him better for the museum.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, that's one of those, like, it should be in the most satisfying category of stuff, because it's like,
It's the original SMR, basically.
basically, yeah, definitely can see it.
But yeah,
And
it's
also,
so
I'm sorry.
satisfying how they clean his eyes, the zoom of the eyes becoming reflective, how he's watching with the lens so he can patch his arm, cleaning the boots. Well, there's a moment he paints over Andy's name, but
Yeah.
still, it's a really well made sequence, and as everybody says, it's very satisfactory to watch.
Yep. Also, a couple of interesting things with that is, number one, the cleaner is actually the old man from the Gary's Game short. The old man who plays to
Yeah.
chisel himself. You can actually see the chess pieces in his drawer, and a really cute Easter egg. The other thing is that he's voiced by Jonathan Harris, who is probably best known for being Dr. Smith on Lost in Space. There was also Manny the Praying Mantis in A Bug's Life, which is probably how they got him back for it, but still, it's really neat.
And
That's
he
nice,
leaves us with
yeah.
a lesson that things that Disney and Pixar seem to be forgetting. You can't rush art.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, lordy.
Yeah, like I say, yeah, that really is just a cute little moment there. Anyway, let's see. Python, what would your favorite Toy Story moment or memory be?
Python?
Who was the villain in the fourth movie?
The fourth movie was the talking doll. I think I cannot remember her name for the life of me. I'm sorry,
Give me a sec.
Gabby.
I can
Gabby.
look it up.
Gabby. Yeah, that was her name.
Yeah, Gabby.
Gabby. I
Gabby.
guess her like willingly going with Woody and the others to like Bonnie, but stopping on the way upon seeing like a lost child that's like upset, and Gabby like decides to be the one. Well, non-verbally says that she know what she must do and like be for that child, since that child doesn't have anyone at the moment.
Yeah, I feel that, honestly. Like, Gabby is one of those characters that's both not a villain and not a villain. Like, she gets what she wants, and
Villain.
she's like, oh, okay, I'm totally cool with this. Anyways, let's go find me a kid.
Yeah.
with no hidden intent or anything like that, and I do appreciate that. Like I said,
Definitely. Yeah, no, like I say, Toy Story 4, it's not good. At least I don't think it's that good, but it has good moments. It has pieces where I look at it, and I think that's kind of what frustrates me. I look at it and I think, this could be good. This has potential. This wasn't something that was like a total wash up from the beginning, you know? This is something that, it could have been something, but granted, I understand why you think that's your favorite moment, because I definitely can see why. She's one of the better parts of the movie, and yeah, I can kind of definitely, again, Toy Story 4, it's not the worst movie ever made. I wouldn't even say it's the worst Pixar movie, to be honest, but it's not like, it's hard to explain. It's one of those things that you could have been great, you could have been something. But also we have Jordan, who unfortunately left the podcast. She thankfully told us what her favorite Toy Story moment is, which is the scene in the first movie where Woody and Buzz are at the gas station, which, again, really is such a great moment because on one hand you have the great comedic moments, like example, Buzz basically saying, the entire galaxy is in danger. Zurg is building an evil super weapon the size of a planet that can destroy galaxies. I, and I alone, can stop him. And then, of course, you have Woody's classic line, "You are a toy!" Which, again, the animation on that, too. I feel like Toy Story 1 and 2 were definitely the most cartoony that Pixar got, excluding Monsters, Inc., of course, that was great, too. But, yeah, I think what helps is that Woody's facial expressions are just so animated here. In ways that I don't think Pixar would do today, believe it or not. Like, the level, like slapstick, like emotion of that. But you have that, but it's also like a nice moment where, he tries basically to explain to Buzz that, you're not a space marine, you're a child's plaything. But of course, you have Buzz, of course, another classic reaction. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell. And he also, in a neat little moment, he does the Vulcan salute before leaving. That's a cute reference right there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does like the live long and prosper salute. That is funny as hell. But yeah, again, that's a moment that's just so iconic. I think not just for basically Pixar. I think for animation in general. Like it really sucks how 2D animation was basically supplanted by CGI. And I think like if they had known now what they would have known then, maybe they wouldn't have pushed CGI so hard. But man, Toy Story 1 is a classic. That's one that you really have to admit. Even though a lot of the visuals hasn't aged well, like again, I think Scud the dog looks almost unrendered in some sequences, but man, like I say, that is a great, great scene right there. And again, basically, I also do like we get more insight into Woody's character here because there's the part where he thinks that, I can go back to the house. Wait, I can go there without Buzz. The guys will kill me. Which, again, it's a really neat little moment of that,
I agree.
Yeah. But no, that right there is a great, great scene. And again, it really, I think, also fleshes out the world in a way, Yep. That's definitely a great one. And now it is time to rank the titular character of this, which is Trixie. And this is going to be an interesting one because, for me anyway, because I like the design, I like the voice. It's not anything like, she has great, great moments here. I don't know if I can give her a 10 because I don't think that it's hard for me to kind of explain, but I'll try my best. I think what it is she's expressive, but she seems limited, if that makes sense. Which, I mean, granted, she's a toy, and there's not much articulation you can do, like the limbs and that, and things like that, but I don't know. I feel like maybe she could have had just a tiny bit more characterization, like the part with her and Reptilius. I feel like that part could have been stretched out just a little bit longer to have a little bit of them knowing each other's sides and that and learning more about her as a character. I'm not saying she's bad, far from it. I mean, she's getting like a 9 out of 10 easily, but there's just something, like some sort of missing tiny piece that I cannot put my finger on, that I can't give her a perfect score. But at the same time, she's so great. The character's great. The voice is great. Just everything about her is just really, really fantastic. It's one of those weird little hang-ups that I have, I guess, that sadly, I do not think I can give her a perfect score, so it'll be a 9 out of 10 for me, unfortunately. But that's my opinion, of course. Angron, what would you give her?
I'm gonna go a little lower because, as much as Trixie in this episode was a very great character, her voice actress does an amazing job here. She's done amazing jobs in other places, and she also definitely had a lot of very strut moments, as it were. Also,
Uh,
haha, insert funny dino sex joke here.
uh,
I I don't know if I can accurately give her like a 9 out of 10 either, or at the very least a high score. I mean, yeah, like you said, she's limited in terms of design and also a little bit of character. I mean, yeah, the shorts do their best to flesh her out a bit more, but I don't know if it's enough for me to really give her anything higher than an 8 out of 10. She's not bad, and her relationship with Reptilius and the other toys definitely helps. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an 8 out of 10 for me.
all good. Yep, I understand where you're coming from there, definitely. Let's see, Math, what would you give her?
I was debating this one for a really long time as well, because by my normal standards, she should be a 10. There's nothing I dislike about the character. She's designed really well, she's voiced really well, she's got plenty of screen time, all the stuff, especially when compared to a bunch of other characters that would just make her a 10 effectively by default. Uh, but it took me a long time because there was something about her that just had that weird, this doesn't feel like a 10 feeling, and I finally realized why I'm landing on a 9. Kristen Shaw, her voice actress, is known for these more expressive and energetic characters, like, as mentioned before, Mabel from Gravity Falls or Louise Belcher in Bob's Burgers, where she's able to go harder into the character and just do a lot more and react more wildly. And it feels like she's a little bit restrained with this character. She pulls Trixie off really, really well, but you can tell she's wanting to be goofier or zanier, and she's just holding back a little. And I think that's kind of a feeling I got, which is why I'm landing at this 9, because I feel like there's more that wants to be done with her, but she just can't quite get there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that you kind of are touching on, I think, what for me as well, that I feel like she needs a little bit more character. Not that she doesn't have as much as possible, but she could just do it like a little something to push her over that edge, like a little bit of like maybe more character moments, a little broader, a little like, more like with her reactions or something. It does feel a little subdued. So you're definitely kind of touching on my thing as well with that, but I definitely can understand like your point of view too, that, again, it's such a tiny, minute little detail.
Or as Buzz would say,
Yep.
the slightest insignificant little thing.
Yep, that's it. So that'll be good. Let's see. Shark, what would you give her?
Well, like many of you mentioned it, she's really good in this special, honestly, and because she's like the main character. She does a lot, so like screen time is not an excuse here. Uh, the personality she shows, like courageous, caring, but also like likes to have fun and a little bit ditzy. Really works for her. The design overall works. She's a toy, so she's gonna be limited in some areas, of course, and yet they managed to make it as expressive as possible. And well, for me, I did not find anything that could lower the score, honestly. So I'll be the first one giving her a 10 out of 10 in this case.
What? Okay, all good. Yeah, I definitely can see why, because again, it's really hard for us to see negatives, and I definitely can see that. And again, she's easily a 10 out of 10 because again, there's nothing wrong with her at all. She's one of those things that it's like maybe all personal hangups and that, but that's like an objective standpoint. This is probably the best that we have gotten and probably will ever get from her. As a character. So I definitely can see where you're coming from there. And let's see, our guest Python, what would your choice be for Trixie?
So it's out of 10?
Yeah,
Yes.
like, yep.
Fuck. I
It's okay,
guess
take your time.
9?
Okay.
I don't know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Any particular reason or?
I don't know. It's I haven't seen Toy Story in a long time, so like I'm kind of fresh-ish to it. So any characters, they gotta be really memorable for me to like put them out of 10.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
do, but also don't feel that with Trixie. I feel it more with the the angel or the cat angel thing, even though it has had like 20 seconds of screen time.
Mm.
I don't know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I understand where you're coming from. It makes sense. And also, Jordan, who also wrote what score she would give Trixie, she also gave Trixie a 10 out of 10 because, and this is her words, not mine. Number one, she is an awesome, goofy dino, and number two, Triceratops are my dinosaur favorites, which definitely be interesting when we get to Land Before Time, but that'll be in the future, of course.
Yep.
Yep. But that'll be it for this week for our Christmas special. If you have any questions, or if you want to tell us what you would like to see in a Battlesaurs TV show,
Yes.
you can email us at fierydiscourse@alec.com. Visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Be sure to also look for us at Blue Sky @fierydiscourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Ludmillanon YouTube channel and hit the bell icon and subscribe to the playlist. Any and all comments are appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is also trying to look to get to the United Kingdom. GoFundMe will be in the description. Any and all help with that would be appreciated. Next week, it is our 100th episode, and we have something really, really big planned for it. Because to everybody who's listening on this, next week we are going to be talking about the 1933 movie King Kong.
Oh yeah.
Yep, this is going to be one to definitely remember. It's one that we're all looking forward to recording, and we hope that you enjoy that one as well as all of our others. We thank, because of the Christmas season, we would just like to sincerely thank anyone who has enjoyed our podcast throughout the last year or so. Basically, we hope to keep on making wonderful content for you, and we are very glad that you are enjoying our podcast and that. And thank you so much for watching. And here's to many more. And until then, take care and have a Merry Christmas, a wonderful Happy Hanukkah, a wonderful holiday season, and see you next week.
Yep. Happy winter solstice, everyone.
Yep,
Yep.
that too. Yep, so thank you all for listening, and see you all next week for that.
Laters. Merry Christmas.
Adios.
Happy Holiday, Kwanzaa, whatever.
Yep, see you for that.